to share what we learned last week? No one? You're excused. All right. Okay, just a quick recap. Last week we learned what the definition of obedience, and we also looked at how exercising our free will in three areas of choosing to believe or have faith in God's word, obedience to his word, and our love for God the Father, Jesus Christ, how it impacts us, how we exercise it, influences whether we obey God or not. And we looked at some examples from the first couple, Adam, Eve, and we also talked about the children of Israel. Today, we're going to be covering a few topics still under obedience. Next week, we're going to conclude by God's grace, looking at still the fun part, the reward of obedience. That's the highlight of next week's class. But today, we're going to be talking about obedience in practice. God requires obedience in both the Old and New Testament. And we're also going to be looking at obedience, trust, sacrifice, worship, and service. And we're also going to look at example of some people who meant well, but it didn't go too well. And then how does God perceive disobedience? And why is obedience very, very important to God? So I'm going to need volunteers to read from, I like, looking at the scripture, because then we eliminate any guesswork. We're sure it's what the word of God says. So if you don't mind reading for me, if I call for verses, I'll really appreciate it. And thank you to the lady that read last week. Really appreciate it. So we start our lesson tonight by looking at Matthew 21, verse 28 to 32. If somebody doesn't mind reading that. Matthew 21. If you find it, please read.
Starting at number 1.
Matthew 21, chapter 21, verse 28 to 32.
Please there. Matthew 21, verse 28 to 32.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? This was a man who had 2 sons. He went to the first and said, "Son, go and work today in the vineyard." 29. "I will not," he answered. But later he changed his mind and went. 30. Then the father went to the other son and said the same thing. He answered, "I will, sir," but he did not go. 31. Which of the 2 did what his father wanted? The first, they answered. Jesus said to them, "Truly I tell you, the tax collectors and the prostitutes are entering the kingdom of God ahead of you. For John came to you to show you the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him. But the tax collectors and the prostitutes did. And even after you saw this, you did not repent and believe him."
Thank you. Praise the Lord. So from this passage, we can see the parable of the 2 sons. And this is a reflection of us today as children of God. God is constantly, asking us to do things. If you look at the first son, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go." And then he didn't go. And the second one said, "No, I'm not going." But he went on going. He ended up going to do what his father wanted. Now, what happened? Apparently, it seemed like something happened in between the lines for them to have changed their minds, and they might have had legitimate reasons not to, the first one, maybe when he said, "I won't go," he really had good reasons not to go. And the second one, when he wanted to go, And things happened. It turned out he couldn't go anymore. And Jesus said to them, he said, what do you think? Which one of these two did the Father's will? They said, oh, yeah, it's the first son. So, and Jesus went on to tell them that, you see, tax collectors, prostitutes, they're entering into the kingdom of heaven. But you, the so-called religious, knowledgeable people, you are out. Christianity is not about what you say. It's about what you do. If it's, no offense to hyper grace, those who have this hyper grace theology, but if it's professing Christ and how much you know of the word, it's the only thing that matters. Then we're on a merry-go, walk to heaven. But obviously that's not the case from the scriptures. And Jesus pointed out, he said, see, one thing I want us to know is that your spirituality does not offer you any advantage to have an easy path. Neither does your worldliness, gives you any disadvantage whatsoever from making heaven, as long as your action is reflective of obedience. If you have the opportunity after you give your life to Christ. How many of us remember the thief on the cross? Yes. What did Jesus say? Today you'll be with me in paradise. Amen. What happened to Judas Iscariot? He started all right with Jesus, witnessed all the miracles. What happened? Hello? He betrayed Jesus. And how many of us think that Judas Iscariot would have made it to heaven? Well, we don't know for sure. But based on what Jesus said, it's an indication that he probably didn't make it to heaven, because he did say the person who handed him over to them had a greater sin. So as children of God, God is giving us the invitation. Whenever God asks us to do something, it's an open invitation to obey him or not to obey him. It's what we do after we hear the instruction that determines if we obey God or not. And if you look through all the scriptures, that thing of obedience being required is a consistent thing that God requires from every one of his children. We're going to look at a few scriptures here. If you can, please turn with me to look at, God's heart cry. Before I had children, I used to struggle. I'm like, how can God forgive, these people that have done this evil thing? I didn't understand the Father's heart until I had children of my own. And I began to realize how much the love of a parent is for the child. God forbid your children should do horrible things. Somewhere deep down, even though sometimes you feel like you want to really strangle them, you just find a place in your heart to forgive them and to love them. And you may be hurt, but over time you get over that hurt. I'm like, wow, this is what it feels like. That's why God is perfect. Anyway, God is love. But if me, human, with all my limitations and shortcomings, I can still, express that love to my children. I can still forgive them. Even when they don't say sorry, how much more our Heavenly Father who is in heaven. So God's heart cry for us as his children is obedience. Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 7 from verse 22 to 24. And somebody else, you can help us open while we're Jeremiah 11, 1 to 8. Let's quickly read those two passages. Jeremiah 7, chapter 7, 22 to 24. If you find it, read. Okay, and then it says, are we all there? Jeremiah? Yeah.
What was it?
22 to 24.
For I did not speak to your fathers, commanded in the days that I brought the whole of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offering or sacrifice. But this is what I commanded them, saying, obey my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people, and walk in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well with you.
Thank you. So what did God say he asked of them? To obey his voice. So obedience is a requirement for that father-daughter relationship, father-son relationship, or father-children relationship. That God says, when you obey me, it's going to be well with you. When you obey me, you can confidently say, I'm your God.
Amen.
When you call on me, I'm going to answer you.
Amen.
You know, one of the things we commonly say to, you know, you go to funerals and you hear when the pastor is preaching, oh, or something, so he's gone to heaven. I'm like, really? How did you know that? How did you know that person is, you know, for the angels, and this person, I mean, wasn't saved, probably from maybe at the end they got saved, but regardless, you know, I'm like, if we want to go for evangelism, one of the questions we ask that if hypothetically, you know, you should die today, and where would you want to go to? 99% of the time, they all want to go to heaven. And we're like, so if God were to ask you, why should I open the gates of heaven for you to come in? What would you say? Some would say, you know, yeah, I'm not a bad person. You know, I'm like, okay, well, like, so if I come to your house and knock at your door, assuming, God forbid, my enemy is homeless, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, please, can I come and live in your house? I'm a really nice person. You know, I said, will you let me in? They're like, no, maybe just give you food and go. I'm like, why not? They're like, yeah, because you're a stranger, you know, we don't know you. I said, that's the thing. You come, you know, I can either have the same claims as you have as a child in the home if I was born by your parents, or if there is a blood tie between us, or if I was adopted. Without any of those two, I cannot come into your family house and share the same, you know, privileges that you have. The same thing with God. If you are not adopted into his family through that blood tie of Jesus Christ, you cannot have that privilege. So God said, if you want me to be your God, you have to obey me. And I'll be your God. But if you don't obey me, listen, I don't care how much scripture you know.
Yeah.
If you are not obedient to God, you are just wasting time. That you and I will just be, that's the reality. And God said, no, it has to be that for us, so that it may even be well with you. Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 1 to 8, and hear what, there are so many scriptures here I would like us to go through, but there is no time. We're just going to pick and choose. We'll pick one more, 11, 1 to 8, then we'll read from the New Testament as well. So you're not saying, oh, that's an Old Testament thing, we're in the New Testament. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 1 to 8. If you get it there, please read.
The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, hear the words of this covenant, and speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and say to them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, cursed is the man who does not obey the word of this covenant which I commanded your fathers in the days I brought them out of the land of Egypt, from the iron furnace, saying, give them a land flowing with milk and honey, as it is this day. And I asked and said, so be it, Lord. Then the Lord said to me, proclaim all these words in the city of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying, hear the words of this covenant and do them, for I earnestly abhorred your fathers in the days I brought them up and out of the land of Egypt until this day, rising early and exalting, saying, obey my voice, yet they did not obey and incline their ears, but everyone followed the dedicates of
Dictates.
dictates of his evil heart. Therefore I will bring up upon them all the words of this covenant which I commanded them to do, but which they have not done. And the Lord said to me, a conspiracy has been found among the men of Judah and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Thank you. That's
Okay.
good. So if we pay attention to those verses that we just read, what did God say? He said, cursed is any man that does not obey the words of this covenant. He said, what I asked your fathers to do was just to obey my. Now, may I just ask quickly, who was Jeremiah talking to? Was it to the Gentiles or to the Israelites? Who were the Israelites? They were God's people, right? They were not foreigners. And this is God talking directly to them. And then we're going to look at Exodus chapter 23, verse 20 to 33. Or 23, sorry. So I'll quickly read. Say, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee to the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression. For my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee and bring thee into the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Isn't that a powerful promise? That God is willing to be an enemy to as long as we obey his voice. I'm just wanting us to see through this so that it sinks into our hearts, into our spirit, into our soul, that our relationship with God will blossom, will be fruitful and healthy if we learn to obey his voice. Next week, we're going to see obedience is not easy. That I must admit, but that is what God requires. So let's look at 1 John chapter 2, verse 4. I also want you to see it in the New Testament that God requires obedience, whether you are in the New, you are in the Old Testament, chapter 2, verse 4. If you find it, please read. Sorry to make you go through all these passages, but it's just part of the learning. Is anybody offering to read?
1 John 2:7.
He who
Yeah.
says, I know him, and does not keep his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Thank you, sir. Isn't that straightforward?
Yeah.
He says, if you say you know him and you don't keep his commandments, who is a liar? The person, right? And he said the truth is not in him. What did the Bible say? He said, there is no liar. He says all liars will find their part in the lake of fire. No liar will inherit the kingdom of God. Simple. I didn't say that. God said it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't make that up. James 1:22. Let's see what that says. James chapter 1, verse 22. Please read if you find it.
But be a doer of the word and not a hearer only, deceiving yourself.
So when you hear the word of God, you don't do it. Who are you deceiving?
Yourself.
See? Everybody might see, people might see you outside and say, wow, this person is a spiritual giant. Wow. He's so, or he or she is so, when they pray, the heaven will come down. That's what you see.
Yeah.
You don't know what God sees.
Right.
And that's why we must not compare our lives.
Yeah.
We must not compare ourselves to one another. Don't aspire to do what somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
Okay? And for the records, the gift of the Spirit is not an indication of your level of spirituality.
That's right.
You may speak in tongues, you may raise the dead, you may prophesy. It's not an indication of how grounded or how strong your faith is. It is your obedience to God. That is what determines your Christianity. That's why you must not run the rat race with people. Hear what God is saying to you and do it. Because at the end, we're going to stand before God, his judgment seat. And probably what everybody was applauding, hey, this, and God is like, no. No. Each one of us, our works will be tried by fire.
Yeah.
That's what the word of God says. Then let's quickly look at Romans chapter 2. I have so many, but we'll look at two more. Romans chapter 2, verse 13. Then we would go to the next segment. Romans chapter 2, verse 13.
Not the hearers of the law are just in the sight of God, but the doers of the law will be justified.
Praise the Lord. So you can hear you are justified, pretty much vindicated, when you do what the Father says. Then the fun part, the passage, okay, I want us to read just before we go on. It's, if you look at, we probably all know this passage, Matthew 28, verse 20, the Great Commission. Jesus' charge to his disciples in Matthew 28, I would almost say the last charge to his disciples. No, tarry in Jerusalem was the last one. Okay, so 28 verse 20, what does it say? Or from verse 19, can somebody read?
Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world.
Yeah, thank you very much. Say, teaching them. Jesus didn't say, oh, get them saved, baptized, stop. He said you have to teach them. You know how you teach young babies, when you teach them to do things. If you have your children, you don't, even dogs, human beings, we try to teach everything. We teach dogs how to do, we teach so many things, so the same thing. He says, the key thing is go preach to them, but much more important, teach them to observe the things that I have told you. Because It's very, very important. And in some of the scriptures we read, we saw where God said, I didn't ask you about sacrifice. What I said to you was, obey my voice. Whether you're as children of God, whether you're a new Christian or an old one, our obedience to God trumps our sacrifice. Some of us, we can sacrifice our time to serve God. We can sacrifice our finances to serve God. Even some people have even, died because of their faith in Christ. They gave the ultimate sacrifice. And we would assume that definitely they will be going to heaven, but it may not be that case. I once read the testimony of a man who, they were going to be killed. He was a Christian for being a Christian. And as they were marching towards the, place where they were to be hung, somebody who had offended him before, according to the story, I wasn't there, I read it in one of these, missions magazines. And he approaches them and said, oh, brother, I'm so sorry, for what I did to you. I never apologized, and now that you're, going to die, really, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And the man said, according to the story, that the man totally ignored him and just kept on going, like it was an indication that he didn't forgive that man, at least from what the report said. Now, if such a person should die, would they go to heaven?
No.
Why? Why not?
Because they can forgive us.
Yeah?
It's a command that forgive.
Yes.
As
Yes.
God forgive.
It's a condition to receive God's forgiveness. If we do not forgive other people, God said He will not forgive us. I always think, I said one of the things that is very hard in Christianity that God asks us to do is forgiveness. We're not very generous with forgiveness. I myself have been guilty of that too. Right? We find it very hard to forgive people. We can hold on to offenses. And sometimes the offense can lead to hatred. And what did the Bible say? The Bible says that he that hates his brother is a murderer. Some of us, we say, oh, I've never, again, when we go for evangelism, one of the things we ask them, let's say if you break the law, if you get a ticket for breaking the law, speeding ticket for speeding over the limit, right? And you broke God's law, what do you think God should do to you? And you ask them, okay, they'll say, then they start being lenient, right, on themselves. And then when you now say, so what are have you ever broken any of God's laws? Say, not really. Not really. Okay. Have you lied before? Have you ever? He said, yeah, just little lie, not bad things like, not bad things like killing people or it's like, really? So have you ever hated anyone? He said, yeah. Yeah. But do you know that if you hate somebody, the Bible says you're a murderer? Then the light goes off. So there is no small sin or big sin. Sin is sin. Right? We like to tell ourselves that they are white, small little ones. But that is not. So our obedience, our obedience trumps our sacrifice. And we saw that in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 21. Let's quickly look at the story of Brother Saul. Do you remember the story? 1 Samuel 15, verse 21. So I'll read quickly. So it said, so God gave instruction to Saul. He said, go and utterly destroy the Amalekites. for what they did to the children of Israel on their way to the promised land. When God says utterly destroy, means don't spare anything. Complete annihilation, if I could use that word. So here is what happened. In verse 21 it says, but the people took of the plunder, sheep and oxen, the best of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Israel. So Samuel said, has the Lord as great delight in burnt offering and sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he also has rejected you from being king. So your obedience our obedience trumps our sacrifice. Our obedience even trumps our worship. If you love to worship God, but you are not obedient to him, it's like filth to him. He doesn't want to accept it. Let's quickly look at Isaiah. It's pretty long. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 4 to, well, let's read from verse 4. Isaiah chapter 1. Can somebody quickly read? Okay, I read. Alas, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a brood of evildoers, children who are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked to anger the Holy One of Israel. They have turned away backwards. Why should you be stricken again? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faints. From the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed or bound up or seated with ointments. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Strangers devour your land in your presence, and it is desolate. And it goes on. So, but I am not going to read because of time. So, but if you go to verse 18, it says, talks about basically all the things, but if you go to verse 18, it says, come now and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Verse 19, it says, if you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. And if you look at verse, he said in verse 11 of that, he said, to what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifice to me, says the Lord? I have had enough of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed cattle. I do not delight in the blood of bulls and or lambs or goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required from your hand to tramp my courts? Bring no more fertile sacrifice. Incense is for worship. He says, do not bring any of those things. Incense is an abomination to me. I don't care for those things. All I ask for is obedience. So our obedience trumps our worship. And then lastly, our obedience trumps our service. Now let's read Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 to 23. Matthew 7, 21 to 23. I think you would have to do the rest of the homework. I'm going to rush through. I'll say the passages for them. So Matthew 7, 21 to 23. Can somebody read, please?
Not everyone one that hath unto me, Lord, that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you, depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Praise the Lord. Is that explicit enough?
Yeah.
What was the things that were listed and were they service or not? They were doing service unto the Lord, right? He said, many will come to me on that day. Have not prophesied in your name, right? Cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name. He says, no, depart from me, I do not know you. You practice lawlessness. So you can say, Lord, Lord, Lord. You can jump from pillar to post. You can burn yourself. You can be even Paul, he listed all the things he suffered. He said, God forbid, after preaching unto others, he himself should become a castaway. So, see, this is not, I'm not preaching salvation of works because it's free. Salvation is free. When the people came to John the Baptist, they said to him, oh, they want to be baptized. He said, you brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth fruit that befits repentance. And don't say to yourself that, oh, we are the sons of Abraham. He said, guess what? God can raise up children for Abraham from the stones. So we have to, salvation is free, but we have to show the fruit of the newness of life. There has to be that evidence that we have changed. If we're not willing to give up those things that Christ came to die for us for, then what is the point? Paul says, should we continue in saying that grace may abound? God forbid. So God has made so I'm just telling us this to know the hierarchy of things, because if you're going to write an exam and they tell you that, focus on this topic, if your lecturer tells you, oh, I'm only going to test you on this topic, don't try and be too smart and go and, what we call over syllabus. Those when we were in school, we say you're doing over syllabus. That means you're doing beyond what is required for you to pass. It does not add it does not enhance your performance. Do you understand what I'm saying? It does not. So we call those people, we call them Efico, yeah. We call them Efico. So, and there are so many passages like Matthew 50 say, these people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honorate me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. So there are so many scriptures here, but one that I want us to look before we leave this section of obedience, trumping everything, is in 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 5 to 12. 1 Chronicles, very important scripture I always do. 1 Chronicles 12, 5 to 12. If you get there, please start reading. Anyone there? Fast reader. Sally, please, can you read for us? Okay. 1 Chronicles 12. Yeah. Or is there no chapter 12? Eh? 5, from verse 5 to 12.
For what have I to do with judging those also who are outside?
No, Chronicles.
I apologize.
Oh, okay. First
Chronicles 5. I'm sorry. What is it? Chronicles? What verse?
Uh,
Chapter 10.
First Chronicles 12?
Yeah.
Look at me.
okay, let me read it. So David assembled all Israel.
That's not first Chronicles.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Is it second?
First, it makes me sense, because
Let me
Chronicles
see.
12 and 25 starts out with a bunch of names.
No, I think that's not it either. I think I missed it up. Okay, there you go. Okay, well, basically, I'll tell you the story. So, assignments, go and find it. It's in the Bible, I'm sure, I promise. But I think I typo error and I missed it. So, I don't want to.
Tell us the story. We'll go with it.
Yeah, you go look it up. So listen, let's see how good of him. So David assembled all Israel from the Shihor River in Egypt to Lebo Hamath to bring the ark of God from Kiriath Jearim. David and all Israel went to Bela of Judah, Kiriath Jearim, to bring up from there the ark of God, the Lord, who is enthroned between the cherubim. The ark is called by name. Okay. They moved the ark of God from Abinadab's house on a new cart with Uzzah and
Samuel 6.
Thank you.
What is it?
Eh? 15. 13. Oh, just First Chronicles 13, right?
15.
First Chronicles 13 and second Samuel 6.
Oh no, too many. Okay, let me write it down. What did you say?
15 from verse 3.
First Chronicles
15.
Verse
3 onwards.
from verse 3, right?
Yeah.
See, I knew you guys were smart. Okay, so they moved the ark of God. My apologies for the typo. They moved the ark of God from Abinadab's house on a new cart with Uzzah and Ahio guiding it. David and all the Israelites were celebrating with all their might before God with songs and with harps, lyres, timbrels, cymbals, and trumpets. When they came to the threshing floor of Kidon, Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark because the oxen stumbled. The Lord's anger burned against Uzzah, and he struck him down because he had put his hands on the ark, so he died before the Lord. Then David was angry because the Lord's wrath had broken out against Uzzah, and to this day that place is called Pere Uzzah. David was afraid of God that day and asked, how can I ever bring the ark of God to me? He did not take the ark to be with him in the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite. The ark of God remained with the family of Obed-Edom, the Gittite. So, that was a good plan. It's like trying to build a church, right? Isn't that a good plan? Mm-hmm. It's a good plan, but something went wrong. Who can tell me why, other than, the film, why do you think God's anger burned against Uzzah for touching the ark? What was wrong with it? What did he do wrong?
I think he wasn't a Levite.
Excellent. That's what he wasn't a Levite. And then secondly, God specifically told Moses in the earlier times that, listen, the Levites, when they are to carry the ark, they are supposed to carry it. There's a hole, like a rod, shittim wood, made of shittim wood. They were not to touch the ark. You see, sometimes zeal without knowledge can be very catastrophic. And even though, it was a reflex action that Uzzah did. It seemed like a good thing, but God wasn't pleased with it. Because number one, they didn't even inquire from God before they went ahead to do that. It's like when David wanted to build a temple for God, and he told prophet Isaiah and said, was it Isaiah or Nathan? I think it was that this is what I want to build. He said, yeah, go and do all that is in your heart. You know, the Lord is with you. And truly, God was with David. But David is a very, you know, what I liked about, he wasn't perfect. What I liked about David was that he never, most times, he always inquired from the mouth of the Lord before he did anything. And we too should emulate that practice. And the prophet said, go ahead. But at night, God told him, no. He cannot build a house for me. He has too much blood on his hands. Thank God for that second feedback. Assuming there was no second feedback, you know, and then if that temple is built and they call on God, nothing happens. People will say, oh, this God does not answer prayer, right? But God gave them that feedback. And look at what happened when Solomon built the temple. What did the Bible say? The glory was enormous. God descended. Even the Levites who hardly minister, whenever we walk in obedience, God will show up. It doesn't mean it's easy or it's going to be immediate. But I promise you that eventually he will show up. He's never in a hurry, but he's always on time.
Yeah, the passage you read was 1 Chronicles 13, verse 5 to 13.
13, 5 to. Thanks for that correction. So, if we're not going to, we're not going to look at all the other details, but basically, if David realized in 1 Chronicles 15, 1 to 16, that only the Levites may carry the ark of God because God chose them to minister to him. And then they were to, dedicate themselves, they were to do all the proper things. And as soon as they did that, they were successful in carrying the ark of God, to the place where they wanted to take it in the first place. So the point is that all good works is not always God's work. Right? All good works is not always God's work. But all God's work is good works. Does that make sense? Yeah. All good works is not always God's work. But all of God's work is good works. I know some people will say, oh, but the Bible says in James, every good and perfect gift comes from the Father of lights, in whom with whom is no variableness, neither any shadow of turning. That's true. But if you notice, it said every good gift. It did not say every good works. Am I making sense? Yes. Always check it out. Ask God. Something might seem like it's good, but it may be good, but it's not God's timing for it. So if you do it ahead of time, don't be surprised if you hit a serious roadblock and even God gets angry with you. If you remember the story of Jehoshaphat, I'm not going to read it, but it's 2 Chronicles 18, 30 to 33. You can write it down and cross-check later if I'm wrong, correct me. So, but we're not going to read it. So basically, Jehoshaphat had a relationship with Ahab through marriage. So he went to visit Ahab, and Ahab said to him, oh, do you know Ramoth Gilead belonged to us? And these people have taken it. Will you join me to go and fight and recover the place? And Jehoshaphat said, yes, you're my brother, I'll go with you. But let us inquire from the mouth of the Lord. And Ahab calls his 400 professional prophets, and they go, oh, yeah, go, the Lord is with you, go. Jehoshaphat felt that something is not right. This is not looking too legit. 400 people saying the same thing. Some people say that is good prophecy, but he said, is there no true prophet of God? Because these ones are on payroll. And Ahab said, there's just one, Micaiah, but that man, he never says anything good about you. And he said, go and call him, let's hear from him. So they sent for Micaiah, and Micaiah came. Before he came, all the other prophets told him, no, speak good to the king. We all spoke. He said, what the Lord tells me. He goes there, and Ahab says, oh yeah, should we go to Ramoth Gilead or not? He said, go, the Lord is with you. Ahab knew that that's not the real prophecy, because he told Jehoshaphat, he said, never prophesies anything good. And Micaiah said, you know, I see Israel scattered like sheep without shepherd. That don't go. That in fact, let me give you the background story. That God was asking in heaven, who will deceive Ahab to go to war so he can fall? Because he and his wife, Miss Jezebel, they have pissed me off so much. And I'm about to finish them. And Elijah's spirit came said, oh, I will go. He said, how will you do? He said, he will be a lying spirit in the mouth of his prophet. And God said, go, you will succeed. So Ahab said, lock him up. Bad prophecy. Lock him up. If I don't come back, give him the bread of affliction until I come back. Micaiah said, if you come back, the Lord has not spoken through me. Did you think Jehoshaphat would have taken a cue that I don't think we should go on with this thing? But no, he wanted to please Ahab. And they went, and alas, he almost got killed. But the mercy of God prevailed, and he was spared. In 2 Chronicles 19:1-4, it says, and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah returned to his house in peace to Jerusalem. And Jehu the son of Hanani the seer went to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, shouldest thou help the ungodly and love them that hate the Lord? Therefore is wrath upon thee from before the Lord. Nevertheless, there are good things found in thee, in that thou hast taken away the groves of the land, and hast prepared thine heart to seek God. There is nothing wrong with wanting to help somebody, but this time around, he wasn't helping who God wanted to help. I mean, he was helping somebody who had, the wife had, she killed Naboth, or what's his name? Naboth, right? Yeah. Because they coveted his land. And made up a false story, killed a servant of God, killed so many prophets, and God was very angry. So, what can we take out from this story? It's our responsibility to always find out from the Lord, either through His word or personal prayer of inquiry, what His mind is for us in all things, and to obey it. Because, like I said earlier on, zeal without knowledge can be a problem. And last week, I shared this passage with a brother here, and I want us to read it. Luke 12:47 and 48. To see for ourselves that it's very, very important. Luke 12, I hope I'm right this time around. 47 and 48. Okay, let's read from 46. It says, the master of that, I'm done. It said I have till 15. Right? Yeah. Oh, oh wow, geez, I knew this was going to happen. So it says from verse, I said, the master, do I have your attention? Yes. 46, we said, the master of that servant will come on a day when he's not looking for him, and at an hour when he's not aware, and will cut him in two and appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. Verse 47. And that servant, listen, and that servant who knew his master's will and did not prepare himself or do according to his will shall be beaten with many stripes. But he who did not know, yet committed things deserving of stripes, shall be beaten with few. For everyone to whom much is given, from him much will be required, and to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask the more. You know, the first time I saw this passage, which was like several years ago, I was really freaked out. You know how they say ignorance is not an excuse for breaking the law?
Yeah.
Same thing. How much more, you know, God? Ignorance. If you didn't know or you did something worthy of stripes, you'll be beaten with few stripes. So I want to really encourage us tonight, you know, the whole topic hasn't been touched, that God is not favorably disposed, you know, to disobedience. Excuse me. He's not favorably disposed to disobedience. And as children of God, we have to remember that, because God views disobedience quite strongly. You know, I have this one sheet to go, but I'm going to stop here. I mean, God's view of disobedience, his perception, the way you and I see disobedience is not the same way. God sees disobedience as rebellion. You can find the first, we read the story of, you know, Saul. And he sees disobedience as backsliding or a heart turning away from following him, as in the case of Solomon. He specifically told Solomon, he said, if you do this, you do obey my word, I'll be with you, I'll do all this. But Solomon didn't. And when that story was being recorded, he said his heart had turned away from following the Lord. And God perceives disobedience as evil. Do you have a question? God perceives disobedience as evil in the case of Saul. When Samuel told him, 1 Samuel 15, 16 to 19, he said, when you were little in your own eyes, God made you king over Israel. Now that you became king, instead of you to continue to see yourself as very small, why did you do this evil thing? By not doing what the Lord told you. And the same applied to David when he went and slept with Bathsheba and intentionally positioned Uriah to be killed. And, you know, I think there's a passage where God, you have all this wife, even if you wanted more, you could have gotten, or you went and took somebody else's wife. That this thing you did it in secret. We all know what happened to him anyway. And then like two other points, God views disobedience as stubbornness and an intentional provocation to anger. So I have references for that. But lastly, why is obedience important to God? I really want to share this. When God gives us an instruction of something to do, the impact or the benefit of it that we gain from what we're told to do may not necessarily be for our own benefit, but for a larger group of people. Example, God told Jonah, he said, go and warn the people of Nineveh that destruction is coming on their city. There was no benefit for him to gain at that point in time, but his obedience led to the saving of so many souls. And then secondly, our obedience aligns us to God's purposes and plans for our lives, for our families, for our city, for our nation, and our generation, and even those unborn. Can you imagine what the New Testament would have looked like if Paul did not respond to the call of Jesus Christ? He wrote almost 2/3 of the New Testament. So we are benefiting from it because he obeyed. Then also, if you look at, let's be obedient now. You told me 15. You told me 8:15. We'll finish up the rest. So I just want us to have a word of prayer. We've heard quite a few things. Let's look at examples of how far-reaching the impact of obedience is. We're going to look at the cost of obedience and other things. So I want us to pray. You've heard quite a few things tonight. I don't know what resonated with your spirit or what God has been talking to you. I just want us to have a word of prayer right now and talk to God. 2 minutes. Tell God what you want to tell him. And then I'll pray for us. you so much for tonight. We give you praise, O Lord. We just want to appreciate you for your love for us. Bible says it's he whom the Father loves that he chastises. Father, Lord, I pray that your word will receive tonight will be seed to the soul, will bread to the eater, O God, that these words will transform our lives to conform us to the image of Christ and not to the world. And I pray that, Lord, on that judgment day, that none of the things we've heard here tonight will condemn us before you, O God, in the name of Jesus Christ. Father, help us to do that which pleases you at all times, even as Jesus pleased you at all times, Lord, in Jesus' name. Thank you, our Father and our God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Yeah, you told me 8:15, right?